Moin Moin and welcome to Ralph's photo booth. After the two first videos in English, I get a real good response from my English viewers, so I decided to make some more videos in English. Today I want to show you the Fujifilm X10, a real nice and popular compact camera in the nice retro look. Before I start my review, one very important thing, Fuji released at the end of the last year new firmware for this camera, and you should install it on the camera because you have two very important settings which I like very much, and I will show you later. So how to check the firmware version is very easy. You press the display back button and turn the camera on, as you know, by turning the zoom ring, and here we are, and you will see version 2.0, and that's the right one. So to install the new firmware is very easy. You can download it as from the Fuji homepage on your computer, copy it to a SD card, put the SD card in the camera, press yes, and it will automatically install the firmware. It takes like 5 or 10 minutes, so it's very easy and very uncomplicated. Yeah, as I showed before, you turn on the camera, not with a dial or something like that. You turn it on with the zoom ring. You see it's now on off, and I turn it on. The focal length goes from 28 to 112 millimeters, and the aperture from 2.0 to 2.8. So it's a very nice bright lens with a very good picture quality, and you can work with the depth of field because 2.0 is a very good aperture. Yeah, I like it very much. On the front we have a dial where you can change the different settings for the focus, from autofocus single, autofocus continuous to manual focusing. On top of the camera you have the exposure correction, you have a function button, shutter release, and the program dial. In the middle you can put the external flash on, and here we have the small built-in flash. On the back side there's the button to pop out the small flash. So yeah, one very interesting thing of the X10, and one thing why I like the X10 very much is the optical viewfinder we have here. Because the optical viewfinder is very good if the sun is very bright or the light is very bright, and you're not able to see a lot on the LCD monitor. You have the viewfinder, the optical viewfinder, and it gives you a real good help to taking pictures in the bright sun. But keep in mind the picture you see in the optical viewfinder is not exactly the picture you will get, because it's a little bit different. You will get a little bit more out of the picture as you see on the viewfinder. So if you take a picture, don't wonder why it's not exactly the same you see on the viewfinder, but a little bit more. If you want to work absolute exactly, you have to go on the LCD monitor, because only on the LCD monitor is the picture you will get when you press the shutter release. So keep in mind this is a little bit smaller than the actual picture is later. On the back side we have here 4 buttons for beginning with the white balance, autofocus, I show you later how this works. Auto exposure, here you can change between the different exposure settings, and picture review. Here on the top is a small dial where you can change like shutter speed or the aperture. Then you have a button where you can lock the exposure, display, back button, raw button, menu button, and a dial, and the 4-way button built in. So you see the raw button, and this is one of the things with the new firmware. It's actually not the raw button, it's the button to get the quick menu. This is the same quick menu like on the XE1, and my opinion, it's very comfortable because you can change the most important settings of the camera very easy by pressing the 4-way button to the point where you want to go, like film simulation, and then just turn the wheel on top and you see it change from standard to Velvia. So it's very easy if you want to go to the next point, like image quality, just go on the image quality, turn the dial, and that's it. If you want to change the ISO, just go and turn the wheel, and you see you can change the ISO very fast. On the bottom I can show you the AF mode. We have 3 different AF modes. We have the AF mode where the camera follows the a part of the motif, and we have the normal autofocus where the camera picks a point and make the autofocus, and we have the autofocus, which I'll show you later, where you can put the autofocus frame on a position where you want. So, and press again the raw button, and that's it, and you're out of the quick menu. Let's have a short look in the menus. It starts with ISO, image size, image quality, dynamic range, film simulation like Velvia and the other stuff, white shift. Here you can change color, sharpness, highlight tone, shadow tone, and noise reduction. Intelligent digital zoom. I personally don't like the digital zoom because if I want to zoom in, I can make it later on Photoshop. I think it's easier, so I turn it off. Face detection, RF mode, as I've shown you just before. Here we have the multi-area and tracking. Then we have face recognition, where you can put different faces in the camera and the camera will recognize it. Flash. One very important thing, you have the possibility to put in on an external flash, and you have to turn the external flash on. So don't wonder if you put it the first time on the camera and it won't work. You have to put the external flash on, otherwise it won't work. Then you have the custom settings for the 2 custom settings, which you can choose here on top of the camera. And then you have the display custom settings, where you can, by the way, the electronical level you can choose, or different things you want to see, like white balance, film simulation, dynamic range, frames remaining, battery level. So these the things you can let you show in the LCD monitor when you take the picture. I will show you how it works later on. So, and then you have the setup menu with the things like date, time, format of the SD card, counting of the frame numbers, sounds, and volume of the sound, LCD brightness, and the function button. Here you can, this is the function button here on top here, and you can change the setting of the function button. You see ISO, image size, image quality, raw, dynamic range, film simulation, autofocus mode. So you can put a setting on the function button as you like it, and image stabilization, red eye removal. Yeah, these are the most important settings of the camera. I will show you how you can change the setting of the function button a little bit easier than going in the menu, just by pressing the function button a little bit longer, and you are in the menu where you can change the setting. So that's much easier than go in the menu and work you through the different points, and that's the easiest way to change it. And if you have changed it, just press the FN button short, and then you are in the setting you wanted. So now I will show you how the AF works. If you press the AF button, you will see the green frame, and you can put the green frame anywhere you want. And very important, you can change the size of the green frame. So you can change it by turning the wheel or the dial here, and you see it goes from very small to a little bit bigger. And if you're satisfied with your setting, just press the AF button again, and now you will see, if you press the shutter release a little bit down, the camera focus on the green frame. So that's how the autofocus works. Pressing the autofocus again and press the OK button, it will move to the middle of the LCD monitor. Now I'll show you how it works with the manual focus. I turn this on manual focus, and on manual focus you have again this frame, and by pressing the AF button you can move the frame again anywhere you want. One thing, you can't change the size of this frame, so there happens nothing. You only can move the frame. Press again and you have the frame at this point. Now turning the wheel, and you see you're closer, and you can exactly focus on the point, and yeah, it's very easy. So that's how the manual focus works. If you wait a little bit, it goes to the full picture, or you press the shutter release, it goes back to the full picture. If you turn it again a little bit, you directly goes to the enlargement. So yeah, that's how the manual focus work. I turn the camera back to autofocus. One of a very interesting point of the camera is the macro mode. We have two macro modes. We have the normal and the super macro mode. I go to the super macro mode because I want to show you how it works. You see, by the way, you see here this small sign, so this is a sign for super macro mode. I have here a SD card, and I try to put this one just before the lens, give a little bit more light, and if I press the shutter release, just a second, oops, a little bit more far away, and here we are. You see the super macro mode is real good, and you can go very close to the front lens and get a real nice picture of like flowers or stuff like that. So I like the super macro mode very much, and gives me a nice thing to take pictures of flowers or something else in the nature. Here on the drive button you can change the drive modus from high to low serial pictures, and then you have the best frame capture, different bracketing functions. Just go back, bracketing functions, ISO bracketing, film simulation bracketing, and dynamic range bracketing. Here you can start the self-timer. Yeah, that's the most important function. One thing I should show you is if you take pictures in a church or museum, the flash should be turned off and the noise of the camera should be turned off. This is very easy to handle with the display back button, because if you press the display back button a little bit longer, the camera will go in the silent mode, so no flash, no sound, nothing. And if you press it again, you turn the camera sounds on. Another point is the menu OK button. If you press it a little bit longer, you can lock some of the buttons, and again press again, and here we are, it's again off. So on the top we have the different exposure programs, from shutter priority, aperture priority, manual, the 2 custom settings. Films, you can take movies, full HD with 30 pictures per second. Then you have the different scene modi, where you can change between different, just let me see here, where you can change between different settings for portrait, landscape, sport, and so on and so on. I think they are the most important things. Underwater, party, flower, the most important things the X10 has. So let's go back again, and then we have the advanced modus, and at the advanced filters, here's something new with a new firmware, so that's also a good reason to install the new firmware. And these are the advanced filters, so you have a toy filter, miniature filter, color filters, and stuff like that. So it's nice to play around with these filters. Okay, so this is a new function with a new firmware, and then we have the auto modus, where the camera does everything by herself, like ISO and exposure time and everything you need. And here we are at the EXR mode, and in the EXR mode, the camera tries to reduce the noise and get a sharp picture. So you can play around with the EXR mode, and now I go back to program mode. Yeah, so these are the most important settings of the camera. The menus, I think, are very easy to understand, and it's very easy to understand how to work with the camera with the 2 dials. Here, where you can change the shutter speed or the aperture, and the second dial where you can very easily move through the menus. I think it's very easy to handle the camera, it's very easy to work. I like very much the manual zoom. The electronical zoom has certain steps, and with the manual zoom you can go very exactly to the motive, and I like it's a little bit old-fashioned to work with this camera. That's what I like very much. Yeah, in the end of February, beginning March, Fuji brings the next model of the X10, the X20. The X20 is looks almost the same like the X10. The only difference is they have a second model with a silver top and silver bottom. The lens is the same, menus should be the same, the handling should be the same, but one important thing is the sensor. The X20 uses the same sensor than the XE1, not the size of the sensor, that would be nice, no, but the kind of sensor. So it should give the X20 much more picture quality, more details, and in high ISO it should be a little bit less noisy, and hopefully I think the picture quality will make a big step forward from the X10 to the X20. Yeah, I hope I will get the camera, the X20, very early for a review. So stay tuned, look on my internet page www.ralfsfotobude.de, unfortunately only in German by now. And look to my YouTube channel. You will find the video for the X20, and till then, much more English videos. I try to make some more English videos for the most important and most interesting camera. So stay tuned, and thank you for watching me, and moin moin.